retrieved it and brought it to Erik. She sat before him, proudly holding it, and when he extended his arm, she dropped it gently into his hand. It was obvious that Mike Dovichin had trained her well, but Erik refused to let himself think about that. He was struck by the simple beauty of her doing so perfectly what she had been born and bred to do.
Good girl, Quill. We did it. We did it. Yahoo!
He set the bird and the gun down carefully with the safety on. Then, unable to restrain himself, he pounced on Quill, and they rolled together on the ground in a gleeful celebration. After several moments of this, Quill rose and shook herself. She spit a few stray feathers from her mouth and looked around sheepishly, as if hoping no one had witnessed this undignified display. Then Erik picked up the bird, smoothed its feathers, and held it up to the light to admire its beauty. The head, with its bright red mask and green and purple feathers, was magnificent. There was a perfect white ring around its neck. Depending on how the light struck them, the iridescent body feathers changed to include every color in the rainbow. The breast feathers, delicately tipped in black, shaded from rust to gold to amber, purple, and blue-green. The tail feathers, well over a foot long, were striped with black and brown. The bird's head flopped heavily to the side, and Erik was suddenly aware of the finality of what he had done. Holding the limp, warm body that had been so full of life just a moment ago, he was flooded with a powerful remorse. This bird had hatched from an egg, been raised by a mother, and survived despite brutal weather and the sharp, watching eyes of hawks and owls and coyotes. Now it was dead, and he had killed it. The enormity of this settled upon him, and the exhilaration of a moment before mixed with regret. He felt as if he, Quill, and the pheasant had each played a part in a scene as ancient and natural as the earth itself. Still, he couldn't help feeling sorrow about it, even as he was grateful for the meat and proud of his and Quill's accomplishment. Before he put the bird in his pack, he whispered a thank you to it. Someday, he knew, both he and Quill would die too. Would their bodies then nourish plants or grass that would allow a creature such as a pheasant to live? He hoped so. These thoughts were new for him, and he continued to mull them over as he and Quill walked on. They ate the remaining cookies for their lunch. It was the last of their civilized food. That night, they would eat from the land. Mindful of the need to camp near water, Erik began to look for a suitable spot. Quill's tongue was dragging again by the time they found a large pothole with cattails growing on the west edge and some scrubby bushes on the east. The water wasn't too gross-looking, at least not until Quill charged in to drink and cool herself off. That was okay, Erik thought. He could go around to the other side to get water, then boil it once he had a fire going. A dead poplar tree that looked as if it had been hit by lightning stood bravely in the middle of the grassland. Some of its branches littered the ground, and others were easily within Erik's reach. They were perfect for firewood, which was good because he was starving and eager to cook and eat his first wild bird. Taking it from his pack, he held it up in the late afternoon light and admired it once again. He had to clean it now, he knew that. He had to pluck it and gut it and prepare it for cooking. For a moment, he panicked.
I have no clue how to do this.
Then he told himself to relax, think, and proceed logically. First, the tail feathers. He pulled them out, tied them with a long blade of prairie grass, and put them in his pack for a keepsake. Then, holding the bird in his left hand, he plucked handfuls of soft feathers from the breast. He was relieved to discover They were much less